Welcome to My Barber Told Me. Yeah, My Barber Told Me. I remember the name now. Today we're speaking with my friend, a longtime friend. We met back in 1993, so that's a long time ago. That's 1993, not 1893, but it's close enough. We're speaking with Dr. Sharmon L. Swinney. So we was in the Navy together, and that's where we met in 93. And what I did was I motivated her to become a doctor. I said, look, you can't stay in the Navy like this. And so she took the easy route and became a doctor. I went the hard, stressful route, became a barber. So that's how we're at this place right now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was all because of your motivation.
That's right. That's right, man. So now I birthed a doctor. I can proudly say I birthed a doctor. So let's talk about, I know you're an author and everything. We're going to get into that. But I like the story. We was talking about your story with, because I want to just go jump straight into it about you, because you're a cancer survivor, right?
Yes, a proud cancer survivor.
Congratulations. That's good. We love to hear things like that. Go back and tell us, because I like how you told me when you found out you had cancer with your father. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I was living in Puerto Rico, enjoying life, chilling on the beaches and everything, working, teaching my classes online. And I came home to check on my dad. He was having some health issues, and so I took him to the doctor. And while I was here, I decided to go to the doctor myself for a checkup. And that Monday, he was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and then that Tuesday I was diagnosed with stage 1A breast cancer. Well, going to the VA, they misdiagnosed me and said that I had stage 2 cancer, and I'm just like, Jesus, I just went to the doctor last year and I was fine, and this year I'm stage 2 cancer. So I'm, it's bad enough when you get the news, then you get the news about your dad, and then to find out that it's so progressive, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to kill me because it's progressed so much in just a year. And so I sought out other medical help, and it wasn't stage 2, it was stage 1A cancer. It was a really difficult battle. Just a lot of things that kind of went wrong during the process. At one point, I had 3 surgeries over the course of 4 weeks. Wow. And it was really touch and go for a while. So I thank God that I'm still here. I'm cancer free. I still have to do treatments. Fortunately, no chemo or radiation. So I really am grateful. I try not to complain. I have my, my days or whatever, but I remember back just last year, I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk. Back when we were in the Navy, we used to laugh about everything. So I had to find a way to laugh at myself. At one point I was going to the doctor, just rolling out of the bed and going to the doctor with my nightgown on. But I was throwing a nice necklace though.
You're feeling good about yourself. Like, I'm gonna feel good.
Yeah, I was trying to feel good about myself any kind of way I could. So I have those pictures of myself in my nightgown with a necklace on, going to the doctor's appointments. So I can sit back and kind of laugh about it now to see how far I've come and everything. And then even with my dad, it's been such a blessing because they gave him 6 months to live. And they said, actually, that's being very generous. We don't think he's going to make it past the spring.
Now, when was this? When did they give him 6 months? This year?
April last year.
April last year. Oh, so he's still alive right now.
And he's still alive right now, and he's doing well. He has his days, but he's doing well, up and about. He went to go hang out with his friend yesterday, which was a good thing. So I just thank God for that. I'm just I'm grateful for it. I'm
Yeah.
grateful for my life, and I'm grateful for his life.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. Now, did you have to have your breast surgery, like cut off anything like that?
I did. I had to have both of them removed.
Oh, okay.
And what happened when I had the implants put in, I was in the shower one night and the right side just completely opened up and the implant was hanging out, and I
What?
had to be rushed to the hospital and have another surgery. And they tried to, clean it, stitch me back up, and then the next week I went back to the doctor and it wasn't, it was still infected and not healing well, so I ended up having to have it removed. So I know that was really, even so, when we think about cancer, we think about the patient that's going through it, but it really takes a toll on the family also. With me, my daughter was 20 at the time, my son was 18. That's a lot for 18 and 20-year-old, and my daughter was trying to take care of everything with me and my dad. And so I know it was very traumatic, for them, and very traumatic and hard on her. you know um I was talking to a friend the other day and I said, that was a very traumatizing experience for me. And I actually had to go through counseling to kind of talk through that issue. I said, but I don't know what it even felt or looked like on her end to actually walk in and, because I was screaming for her for her to actually see it. I didn't see what everything looked like, so that was a lot for her to deal with. So I'm grateful that, I have good kids that want to help and willing to help and was there and supportive the whole time. So it's just, even in the midst of hardship, there's things to be grateful for. You find things to be grateful for.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So where's your daughter? Where's your kids now?
They're both here in Decatur. My daughter set out of school to come home and help us and everything, but she'll be back in school and everything this fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you live in Puerto Rico, the beautiful Puerto
Yeah.
Rico, on the water, but you're not in Puerto Rico right now. You're back in Decatur. That's where you was born, right?
Yes. Born and raised Georgia Peach.
So how did you get to Puerto Rico? Why did you
Um,
decide on Puerto Rico?
Well, I was a divorced parent. We got divorced when the kids were very young. And I saw a lot of my friends that wanted to move away and do things, but they were, oh, I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to go away. I don't want to be far away from my mom and dad. And I used to always tell my kids, don't feel like you have to stay up under me just for us to prove that we love each other. I said, wherever in the world you want to go, I want you to feel free to go. Number one, wherever you go, God is already there. And number two, if I got you there, I can get back to you, right?
Yeah.
And so I started to kind of apply that to myself. As a single parent, I think I went through every financial struggle and hardship you can possibly think of. It was a toll, not only financially, but physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I just said, this is not the totality of my life. This is just, one chapter. So what do I want the next chapter to look like? So when my kids got in high school, I started telling them, when you leave, I'm leaving too. I'm going somewhere warm, teach my classes online, drink some fruity drinks, and get a beach boyfriend. And they did not believe me. Like, up until
So did you
2 weeks before I left, and I had my going away party, that's when my family started to believe me. So I wanted to go somewhere, of course, warm and tropical, a good quality of life. I don't have to do the city. Like, I love going to the city, but I don't have to live in the city. Um, I wanted somewhere safe. Safety was important for me, especially knowing that I was going to be traveling there alone. And so a friend recommended Puerto Rico. It's no visa, passport required. It's a U.S. territory. The money is the same. The only thing that's different is culturally different, and the language is different. But other than that, it was a very easy transition. So I didn't move on the main island. I moved to a very small island, Culebra. They said it's about 1,800 people there. I only seen like 5 people. It's the same people all day, every day.
They might be
But
in the
they're
water.
really,
They might be inside the
right,
water.
right. They're wonderful, very nice, outgoing people, just genuinely friendly. and the beaches are great. It has one of the top beaches in the world, and I just really like my quality of life there, you
And
know.
when you was diagnosed with cancer, were you already in Puerto Rico?
I was already living in Puerto Rico, so I just came home when I was diagnosed. I came home to check on my dad from Puerto Rico,
Okay, and that.
you know, because he had been talking about some, you know, his stomach was hurting, so I came home to take him to the doctor.
Okay, okay. And you're a professor, you're a doctor, you're a professor. So what are you teaching?
I teach computer information systems. I've been doing that for over 11 years now. I've taught undergraduate computer information systems and computer application classes, but I've also trained professors, which is the hardest part, especially at the time when I didn't have a doctorate. So it was a lot of big egos in the room.
You
Trying
can't
to
teach
teach
me nothing,
doctors.
little girl.
Right,
That's like
right. What are you trying to
you
teach
had
me?
it because you had the ego also because I was only a dental assistant. I was saying, look, you can be a doctor. You didn't believe me. It's the same thing. I was teaching you. So I know how
We
that
all
feels.
have lessons to learn.
You had to go through it too.
Right. So it was quite an experience. But then with my doctorate, I wanted to go in a completely different direction. My doctorate is in conflict studies, international conflict, and I like to look at international conflict through the lens of politics, gender, and race. Because a lot of times when we think about international relations and interactions, it's very cold and sterile, and we don't think about the impact that it has on, you know, human beings, the impact that it has on real people. So I like to look at it, especially through gender, race, and politics.
And that takes me to where you at with your books. Because now, you know, that's what your books is guided you toward. I mean, that's what you write your books on, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when did you decide I want to become an author?
Really, it was in my doctoral program. I had never even considered it before then, but I'm like, I'm cranking out all these papers. You know, when you're in a doctoral program, you're writing some pretty heavy stuff, and you're not writing, you know, little 5-page research papers like my students may have to do. So I said, you know, I could take these papers that I'm writing and actually submit them for peer review articles, which I was doing that at first. So I had a couple of articles published. And then I said, you know what, we can take the first one that I had published. It was a manual that we wrote for a class, and it was over, you know, 100 pages. I said, this is a book. And so we had that published. A friend of mine and I, Dr. Wamar, Dr. Ishanda Wamar, we had our journal published.
Y'all had a co-author?
Yes.
It was a co-author?
Yes. And so that's a mediation manual, how to walk through conflict resolution as a mediation practitioner. And so after that, it just kind of sparked the idea like, okay, I can take some other stuff and, you know, write some books. So the next book I wrote was my book that I took from my dissertation. This is on war and women. I don't know if you can see that or not.
I can see it.
And that was a part of my dissertation, and it talks about what impact did the U.S. war in Afghanistan have on Afghan women, because that was a huge selling point in us not only going to war, but staying in the longest war in U.S. history. So I wanted to sit and quantitatively do research, do some data, and crunch the numbers.
Swinney, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, okay. Real quick. Hello? Hello? Okay. Let me finish up this interview real quick. I'm still online. All right. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So
yeah, that's another one of my students. He's contemplating. He wanted to drop out of being a doctor. I told him, no, come on, we got to.
No, you got to hang in there.
Hang in there, bro. I got one right now. So we're back. Okay, you're talking about Afghanistan and the impact.
So what I wanted to do was write that book in order to see if we actually did play a role on impacting their lives for the best. And so after that book, the next book I worked on was a book about Donald Trump, called Fascist Trump, because I was really concerned about where things were going with him when he was during the campaign season. Right. I was concerned about him. And it's not like I just started becoming concerned at this point. And I started working on the book, and then that's when I was diagnosed with cancer. And I decided to continue with the book just to prove that cancer wasn't going to defeat me. So I worked on the book, and then the election season came around, and to my surprise, and I think to a lot of people's surprise, he ended up winning. And so a friend of mine said, no, you actually need to get that book out there, not just write it, to prove a point to yourself about defeating cancer or overcoming cancer, but you actually need to get it out into the public. So that's what I did. I went ahead and got it published. Both of my books are, all four of my books are self-published. That was just the route that I chose to go through, just because I like to have the control over my content and not have someone to tell me, you should change it this way or this or that way, which is pros and cons for self-publishing and going through a publishing house. But for me at the time, I just like the idea of self-publishing.
And all of your books are based off of research that you do. So where do you get the research to get the facts that you use in your books? Because I know you don't make up anything. You do everything off of factual items, right?
Right. I'm a researcher. I'm not a creative writer. We talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
I really love creative writers, those people that can make you smell the apple pie grandma is baking in the kitchen. You smell the vanilla and the cinnamon. I don't have that talent, but I do know how to do research. So for my book on Afghanistan, for example, I use a lot of information from NATO, the United Nations, the State Department, Department of Defense. Those are all credible sources, not just some regular online website. So whenever you're doing research, you want to look for credible resources. My book on Donald Trump, the same way, I kind of looked at some government websites. I used some stuff from New York Times and CNN because I think those are credible outlets.
Now, you're talking about self-publishing. There's people out there that's probably they probably got ideas and thoughts. Like I'm not a writer, but I have thoughts in my head. I don't know how to organize that. So how could a person get organized to write a book?
Well, one thing is you're not reinventing the wheel. When you write a book, you're not the first one that's written on any particular subject. It's not any subject I can think of that someone hasn't written about before. So if it's something you're interested in, but you're not quite sure how to get the information out there, start reading some books on that area and see how other authors tackled it, and see how you can probably add your own specific spin to it, your own specific perspective or whatever. So I think that's a good place to start, is by reading other works about the same topic. Also, kind of talking to people and getting some feedback. Sometimes what you think makes sense doesn't necessarily make sense to everyone else, or the way you say it may not be conveyed the way that it makes sense to everyone else. So it's important to get some feedback from others, whether it's just friends, family. You're in a barbershop, you all are always bouncing ideas off of one another and talking about the topics of the day. So that's another good resource. And then the third thing I would say, whenever you're thinking about writing a book, you want to organize your ideas, like your table of contents. And that's normally where I start thinking about my table of contents. And then from there, I can kind of get an idea of, what I want to write in each chapter.
So what now put this book together, how do I publish it? What is self-publishing?
With self-publishing, you can go directly through Amazon. I went through lulu.com, lulu.com. With self-publishing, you don't put any money down or pay any fees up front. The way that they get paid is by your book sales. So for every book that you sell, they get a certain percent or a certain dollar amount.
Is that negotiable for every book, or there's a set price?
Well, what happens when you create your book, they give you a suggestion of what you should sell the book for, based on how many pages, if it's color, black or white, the binding, the size, how much they're going to make off of it, and then how much you should make off of it in profit. So it gives you a suggestion, a good suggestion. You can always change it. You can increase it or decrease it from there.
Now, advertising, how do you have to market your own book? Do they, like you say, you have it on Amazon, you have it on Lulu. They don't do anything for you. You have to do everything yourself.
Yes. Now that's one of the downsides of self-publishing is because you really have to get out there and put the work in and do the marketing and promotion for yourself. But there's so many opportunities, whether it's online, through social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, to promote your book. Also, you can do things like free book giveaways on Amazon. That really gets the word out about your book because a lot of people, whether they're interested in your book or not initially, they'll sign up for a free giveaway because
Yeah.
it's free. And that kind of gets the word out about your book. There's meetups for book clubs in every city, every state. A lot of the book clubs like to have authors out to come do book signings or to come and speak to their meetup group. So that's a good place to get started. And also bookstores have book signings. The book signings at the bookstores I didn't find to be um, as productive as far as selling a lot of books, but it does kind of get your name out there and gives you some credibility as an author.
It seemed like if you would sit as a book signing, you would have to have created a kind of an audience already, having
Right,
a little following for them to come out to know that you're
right.
there.
That's the main thing with doing a book signing. It's kind of like a catch-22. You're trying to build a following, but you kind of
Okay.
need a following. And another thing are book fairs and book festivals. So there's book fairs all over the country, all over the world that you can sign up. Some of them may invite you, but as a new author, you probably won't be invited, but you can pay to have your books at the book fair and book signings. And
Now,
so that's a really good opportunity to get your book out before a large audience.
now that's all paperback. But what about digital? What about having an
No,
ebook?
that's digital also. A lot of the book fairs now, because there's such a huge market for ebooks, that some of them may have your ebook and they just print out the cover page and just have the cover page there available, or they have screens with the ebooks listed and people can just click on the picture of your ebook to actually order it or read the description and everything.
And now having a hardback copy and an ebook, that considers two books on if even if it's one
That
book.
that's considered two books. You get two different ISBN numbers. That's your identifying number. That's back on the back with the Scantron when you scan the book out to
Yeah.
purchase it if you're in the store. So it's considered two books. So I always suggest to people just to increase your numbers and also increase, the possibility of new audience to always put your book out as an ebook and as a hard copy.
Okay. Now, something else you was telling me about the publishing. I think I missed it last time. I had that question. No, that was you covered it yourself. The help books. Oh, the quick reads. Like if you don't know how many you just have a little quick story. What is the quick reads again that you
Okay, so
place up?
Amazon has a section of books called quick reads, and they're probably about 30 pages. So if you get a book out there, some people are like, oh, I can't write 100 or 200 pages, but most people can write 30 pages,
Yeah.
and that's called an Amazon quick read, and it's a very new category, but from what I've heard, it's a very lucrative category of books, and it helps a lot of people that are kind of new and would like to get into the writing field. It gives them the opportunity to kind of get into the field without feeling like so much pressure to have to write a large book.
Now they don't provide editors or anything like that. You would have to do all your editing. You have someone do editing for you.
Some of the most of the self-publishing companies do offer editing services that you would have to pay for, but it doesn't come along with the service of publishing your book. But I would recommend to anyone to please get an editor, because here's the thing: when you read over your work, you're reading it as you want it to be read. You're not reading it how it actually is on the screen. For example, when you read those little memes on Facebook and the letters are turned upside down or it's missing a letter, but you can still read the word.
Right.
It's the same thing when you're reading through your book. It may be letters missing, it may be words out of place, but your mind is processing it and reading it as you would actually want it to be read, not actually how it is. So it's very good to get an editor. I can't stress how important it is to get a good editor that may even know a little something about your your area that you're writing about, because they know what questions to ask. Um, or get an editor for the specific genre that you're writing. For example, for my dissertation, I had to get an editor. He wasn't familiar with my area, but he was familiar with dissertations and what committee members are looking for. So he asked me really good questions that made me go back and address those in my paper.
Now, what about I can still self-publish if I have a ghostwriter?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you look at a lot of the celebrities and politicians, they're not sitting down writing their own books. As a matter of fact, if you think about Think Like a Man by Steve Harvey, that was not, written by Steve Harvey. He may have had the idea, and he may have even provided an outline for what he wanted. I'm not sure, specifically. I'm just using him as an example. But he didn't actually write the book. Or with most politicians, they're not writing their own books.
Yeah.
So people use ghostwriters all of the time. You can find ghostwriters online. They do sign confidentiality clauses, so they can't come out of the woodwork. Say, for instance, if it becomes a bestseller, and say, hey, I want more money, or I want to take credit for the book.
Yeah, yeah. Now, with a ghostwriter, you just giving them your thoughts, or what are you doing? You just putting an entire book together?
No, it really depends on you. You can just tell them the topic, you can tell them the title, or you
say, go. I just want a book.
Right. I just want a book, and they take it from there. So it just really depends on what you want and what you all agree to spend on it. Now, if you go to them and just say, this is the topic that I want, and let them run with it, then you're going to pay more, because you're not really giving them anything to work with.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that said, since I know I can use a ghostwriter, I'll be writing a book about how to help other people become doctors. I would definitely get that book out, because it works. Once you do something, you prove. Once you can teach something or show somebody the results, you have a book, basically.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people have, no one wants to eat the next person's potato salad. Well, write the book on how to cook potato salad and publish that. Publish recipes. I think every family, my aunt started doing this, writing the recipes of the family. And I think every family should have a book like that to pass on through family traditions and stuff. So I think that's a great idea.
Right. And not only that, there's information available online. I went through a webinar. This is another thing that's good information for people, is that there are free webinars available online that teaches you how to walk through writing a book, how to self-publish a book, how to get ideas, how to market your book. It's just a matter of doing a Google search to do it. But there's information on there available online for free or very, small amount, where you can purchase that information. Say, for instance, if I want to do an adult coloring book, because that's a huge market right now, I don't have to sit and be able to draw and sketch out, these pictures for people to draw, color in the coloring book. Those are available online somewhere.
That's a good idea. You know what? When you said that last time, you said that, but I didn't think coloring books you don't have to put no words on it. You can just collect pictures and place it inside you can have a theme of the coloring book. But adult coloring books are popular.
Right.
And you can publish that. Now, I wonder how much a person would make off of adult coloring book, because it can't be that much effort.
Right.
On your own terms and stuff like that. So, yeah, and you got into it. You also told me, for someone that wants to make extra money, writing a book, you can do that for a part-time income.
Exactly. As we discussed, I think it was a few years ago, I heard this statistic, and it kind of stuck with me. And it was saying that most people that file for bankruptcy, if they had an additional $500 a month, that would keep them from going into bankruptcy. And if you just think about that, $500, that's a whole lot for some people, but it's not a whole lot in the big scheme of things. I mean, it's not even $1,000. It's $500 that will make or break the difference between you filing for bankruptcy or not. And so, if you think about writing a book, the book that myself and Dr. Walmart came out with, that was back in 2010. And with those books, we never even did any marketing or anything we don't get a lot of sales, but we still do get sales. And so that's residual income. We wrote that book once and we still get checks off of it. So you want to get as many books out there as possible to start building an audience and also to generate, you know, additional income.
And what are you doing? Audio books?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Are you doing audio books?
Hold on, it's a huge truck right here.
I can hear the truck. I can hear the truck loud and clear. See, we were supposed to be doing this in Puerto Rico, but the week that we were supposed to do it in Puerto Rico, I was evacuated from my house because of the dam. If you saw the news, the dam in Oroville, so I'm closer to that area. So we was evacuated, and we were supposed to do it that week, and my kids was out of school, so we couldn't meet up, and so that's why we're not doing it from our beautiful view on her balcony.
If I were in Puerto Rico, all you would hear was the waves. That's it. Right. The wave. Well, actually, the waves and the roosters. We have a lot of roosters there that apparently don't know what time it is, so they're going at it all day.
Their roosters are broken. They don't have. They're living a good life. They're not living in no urban area. They got to survive.
Right. Okay. So, what was your question again?
Audiobooks. Are you doing audiobooks?
Audiobooks. I have not.
Let me tell you right now. If somebody said, "Man, if I tell you a story, I always say I read this book, but really I heard this book in my car." I don't read any books. I do a lot of audiobooks. I might read articles and stuff like that. But I just bought a book recently, internet traffic, because I'm studying on how to do marketing on Facebook and stuff like that. So I'm real into that right now. So I bought the book. I read the entire book. But believe me, if he would have had an audiobook, I'd have bought 2 of them easily. So audiobooks is real huge for me.
It is, and that's a market that I would like to get into, because I think as many platforms that you can reach your audience is better. And then, like you and I discussed previously, people are so busy, they're stuck in traffic, they can, you know, listen to the audiobook while they're in traffic, compared to maybe taking time out of their day to sit down and read a book. And most people don't feel like they have that time to take out of the day to read a book. But if they're already, you know, sitting in traffic, or they're on the, you know, the train or something like that, they listen to this audiobook. It's not taking up any extra time in their day.
See, when I'm at the barbershop, you know, we have the radio on, so I get to listen to the radio, you know, through the barbershop. But when I'm in my car, it's a 35-minute ride to and from work.
Right.
Being a barber, you're constantly just doing one rhythm all day. So you want to stimulate the other side of your brain and get, you know, information coming in. You know, you want to read, listen to stuff like that. So I'm in the car. I pop on a YouTube audiobook free. You know, I get them on you. I let somebody else read to me. I listen to a different podcast and stuff like that, and get a lot of information. And you really consume a lot of information like that. My kids get in the car and they're like, "Dad, can you please just turn off the talking?" They say they get car sick. But I'll be loving it. It keeps me focused when I'm driving. Also, if I turn on the radio, I'm just driving. I'm not really paying attention to anything. But if you put on an audiobook, it really helps you focus and get your ideas and thoughts together and stuff like that. So it really helps me.
And the kids are soaking it up, whether they admit it or not. Exactly. They're soaking it up.
Exactly, and that's why I have the stuff on in my car. You know, I let them listen to music and stuff. You can't stop that. I'm not trying to stop that, but I make sure I give them a lot of doses of information, because I want them to be well-rounded and hear a lot of information. That's something that, you know, when I met you in the Navy, when we met in the Navy, because we was dental assistants, that's when I used to clean teeth, 6 to 11, 22 to 27, cuspid to cuspid. You know, I was great at that, but I had no idea how to do any of that stuff. But meeting other people and stuff like that, you know, you from Atlanta, I was from Louisiana and stuff. We had friends from California and everything. So it was good to, you know, get a different environment. And then you can start seeing, what do you want to do? And when I was in there, I started seeing that I don't want to be here. So exposure to different things, you know, helps for when you grow.
Exactly. Even with my kids and with my students, I listen to a lot of jazz in the radio and when I was in the classroom. And I would notice when I didn't play it, my students would say, "What happened? You're not going to play your music today?" Because it would kind of help them calm down and relax and center and everything. So when I didn't do it, they would actually notice it and bring it up.
Yeah, it does help, you know. So yeah, audiobooks, I like them. where are you going to be at? How do people reach out to you if they're interested in following you, seeing, or just getting some advice from you about, you know, how can they contact you?
Okay, so one place you can reach me is on Amazon author page, and it's amazon.com/author slash s s I'm sorry, SHARMONMONAGAN. That's amazon.com/author slash Sharmon Monagan. And then
Now
for
I have a
Facebook,
link under it in the details. I'll put a
okay.
link also.
And
But
then on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can reach me at Dr. S. Monagan. That's DRSMONAGAN.
and you're going to be in LA next month.
Yes. Yes, I'll be in LA for my birthday.
Oh,
For the LA
congratulations!
Times Festival of Books. My book will be my Donald Trump book will be there. My Fascist Trump book will be at the LA Times Festival of Books.
Oh, okay, turning 30 twice again, huh?
Exactly.
Well, all right, sister. I appreciate you doing this, and we're
Thank you
going to
so
talk
much.
again because I'm sure you're going to have a few more books, and because you did how many books in a time frame did you do your books?
I think the Trump book was the longest one, and like I said, during that period I had cancer. But I normally can do a book because I research pretty quickly and I write pretty fastly. I could do it in a few months. Now it takes
One book in a month?
no, in a couple of months,
Oh,
not
okay,
in one
okay,
month. In a couple, well, maybe like 3 or 4 months, I could do a book.
okay.
And then add in time for the editor, and they kind of work on their own time.
Wait. So once you write it, you just send it out. You have a certain editor you just use all the time.
Yes.
Okay. So it was.
Well, it depends on which book. Like I had a different person look at each book because of their different areas.
Oh, okay. All right. So LA next month. That's a book festival, right?
Right.
Any other stuff throughout the year that you're invited to?
I will be at a couple of different international book festivals. I'll be listing that online hopefully by the end of next week. I'm really excited about those opportunities.
Where international where?
Where there's a couple of places. So I'm just waiting to hear back. So hopefully I'll be able to post those next week. You'll be the first to know.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that because one of them, they have like over 2 million people to come through their book festival. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that one. And then I will be in Austin, Texas in September for a book signing at Barnes & Noble.
Okay. All right, Swinney, Dr. Swinney, you know, I'm glad. I was happy to speak to my protege today. You know, I finally birthed my first doctor. I got 2 more living with me. I'm trying to get rid of, you know, push them along the way. I'm sure one I want to be a veterinarian. So
Very good.
I posted that in his head.
Right.
It's stuck in his head now, but he like dogs. So hopefully that'll work out. But so it's been nice talking to you.
Good talking to you.
We do this again. Speak up. You know, we always, you know, chat on Facebook every once in a while. So it's cool.
Okay.
So
next
thank you.
time, hopefully, I'll be back in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
and I can record from the beach.
When you get to Puerto Rico, just do it. We could do a quick 2-minute, real quick, and you can show us your balcony view.
Okay, we can do that.
All right, Sharmon, my friend. Talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.